Austria, and the fastest circuit in the calendar, the Österreich-ring in Styria. The red arrows weren't all that much faster than the cars, which were qualifying at about 155 miles an hour. A Harrier took a sniff before descending vertically as advertised. The assembled Austrians would rather have applauded Lauda, but they were glad enough to give the reigning world champion a hand when he climbed out of the cockpit wearing a funny hat. He had just won another motor scooter for pole position, and perhaps he wanted a Harrier too. Something went wrong with the lights at the start, and De Angelis got left on the grid. Prost got ahead of Piquet, followed by Lauda and Senna, sensationally up from 10th. Nobody had any plans to stop for tyres or run out of gas. By this stage of the season, those problems were largely licked. Technology had made the usual giant strides, but it was all made a nonsense of by a dud set of starting lights. The race got stopped, although not before Rotengatter's Spirit had done a spell as a combine harvester. So they all lined up again, topped up with fuel, got out of the cars and waited.
Yeah, so red, green, yellow, red.
Yeah, I got to do a second gear lap now.
Piquet seemed to be transmitting to Gordon Murray the details of some sort of scheme. Piquet led the field away on the slowest warm-up lap since the 40 days in the wilderness. He had seen the McLarens change tyres and didn't want them to get scrubbed in. There was nothing the rest of the drivers could do about this except look at Austria and fill their helmets with fumes of outrage. At the restart, Piquet hung fire, letting Prost into the lead. But such was the urge of the Brabham that Piquet was back in front after the first corner, followed by Prost, Tombe, Warwick, De Angelis, Lauda, Mansell, Senna, Alboreto, Patrese, Rosberg and Arnoux. In a disconcertingly short time, Senna's Tolman appeared ahead of Mansell's Lotus, which wasn't in Mansell's script at all. Eventually, Prost and Lauda were in line astern behind Piquet. Rosberg came in with incurable understeer. De Angelis in fourth place blew his engine and dumped oil on the Jochen-Rindt-Kurve. Piquet hit the oil and twitched. Prost, steering with one hand because he was holding fourth gear in with the other, hit the same oil and came off, a fateful slip-up. Lauda now closed up on Piquet, who was coming up to lap Alboreto at 180 miles an hour. Piquet was balked for a tiny moment. Piquet was irritated into an error. And Lauda went by, to the huge delight of the whole of Austria, who haven't loved anyone so much since the Emperor Franz Josef. Lauda looked all set for first place, but his gearbox must have picked up hypersonic vibrations from Prost's, because suddenly it gave out altogether. Lauda stirred the stick, however, and found all the gears again except fourth. Piquet had dropped back with bald tyres, so Lauda came home first, with Piquet second and Alboreto filling third spot after the unfortunate Tombe succumbed yet again to a bad engine. It was Lauda's first ever win in front of the home crowd, And on top of that, it was also the first time he had got ahead in the 1984 World Championship.